Singapore, cleanest streets in Asia. One of the highest GDPs per capita on the planet. The country that made fine city into a joke because they fine you for everything. Chewing gum, jaywalking, feeding pigeons. It's the kind of place people move to on purpose. Expats, professionals, families who want somewhere that just works. It also executes more people per capita than almost any country on Earth. More than Iran some years. More than Saudi Arabia. Not in secret. Not apologetically, publicly, on the books, with a schedule. Every Friday, 6 in the morning, Changi Prison. Here's what makes Singapore different from every other country that still has the death penalty. Most places that execute people leave room for judgment. A judge considers the circumstances. A jury weighs intent. Someone, somewhere in the process, has to look at the person in front of them and decide. Singapore removed that part. In 1975, Parliament passed the Misuse of Drugs Act. It created something called mandatory sentencing. If you're caught with more than 15 grams of heroin, not selling it, not manufacturing it, just carrying it, the judge has no choice. The law decides for him. 15 grams, about half an ounce, less than what fits in a matchbox. The sentence is death, automatically. No exceptions written into the original law. No room for the judge to look at the defendant and think, this doesn't fit. The law doesn't ask what happened. It asks how much. Changi Prison is not what you picture when you picture a prison. The complex is modern, organized, meticulously maintained, because this is Singapore and everything is meticulously maintained. There's a staff training center, a rehabilitation unit, programs, structure. And every Friday morning, in a specific wing of that complex, they hang people. The protocol is precise. The condemned is weighed and measured in the days before, not for health monitoring, to calculate the drop, the exact length of rope needed so that the fall breaks the neck cleanly. Too short, and it's slow. Too long, and it's something worse. The family receives notice 24 hours in advance, one visit the night before. Then Friday morning, 6 a.m., it's done. By the time most of Singapore is having breakfast, the body has already been processed. In 2007, a 19-year-old Malaysian named Yong Vui Kong got on a bus to Singapore. He came from Sabah, a rural state in Malaysian Borneo, dropped out of school at 13. By the time he was a teenager, he was running errands for people he knew not to ask questions about. He didn't know what was in the package he was carrying when he crossed the border. Or he did, and didn't fully understand what it meant to be caught with it in Singapore. Accounts differ on which is true. What isn't disputed? He was carrying 47 grams of heroin, 32 grams over the threshold. He was arrested at the border, tried, convicted, and at 19 years old, a boy who had never finished primary school was handed a mandatory death sentence by a judge who, under Singapore law, had no other option. His lawyer appealed, then appealed again. His brother, who was 17, traveled alone to Singapore and went public, speaking to journalists, to human rights organizations, to anyone who would listen. He didn't speak much English. He showed up anyway. While Yong Vui Kong sat in Changi Prison, Singapore kept winning awards. Best city for expats, safest country in Southeast Asia, most efficient government in the world 4 years running. Foreign investment poured in. Tourism boomed. Every international ranking put Singapore near the top. Human rights organizations were saying publicly that a teenager was about to be executed for a first offense involving less than 50 grams of a substance he may not have fully understood he was carrying. The government's response was consistent. The law is the law. The law exists to deter. The deterrence works. Singapore's drug problem is minimal compared to its neighbors. The system is working exactly as intended. And here's the thing. They weren't wrong about the statistics. Singapore does have low drug use rates. The streets are clean. The city functions. The machine works. That's never been the question. The question is what you're willing to feed into it. In 2012, under sustained international pressure, Amnesty International, the UN, legal challenges that reached Singapore's own courts, Parliament amended the Misuse of Drugs Act for the first time in decades. Judges were given, in limited circumstances, the ability to deviate from the mandatory death sentence. If the accused was a courier, not a trafficker, if they cooperated with authorities, if the prosecutor certified their assistance. It was a narrow window, but it existed for the first time where none had existed before. Yong Vui Kong qualified. His sentence was commuted to life imprisonment plus caning. He was 24 years old. He had spent 5 of those years on death row. He is still in Changi prison. He has converted to Buddhism. By his own account, he teaches other inmates to read. A 19-year-old who never finished primary school, teaching people to read inside the prison that was supposed to hang him. Between 1991 and 2004, Singapore executed an estimated 420 people. For a country of 4 million, that's a per capita rate that would make most authoritarian governments uncomfortable to claim. They claimed it without discomfort. The uncomfortable part, the part that makes Singapore genuinely different from the easy villains, is that it isn't a dictatorship running a secret program. It's a functioning democracy with a free press and a highly educated population that has repeatedly endorsed this. Most Singaporeans support the death penalty for drug trafficking. The surveys have said so for decades. The government that built the machine reflects, to a real degree, the society that operates inside it. That's the thing about a clean city. Someone has to decide what gets swept away. And someone has to decide that it's fine.